Hi, I'm Brendan McNamara. I'm the municipal manager for the town of Ludlow, Vermont, and I'm here with Okemo Valley TV. We're going to be trying to do a series of updates for the town of Ludlow just to give you an insight of what's going on in day-to-day operations and happenings around the town of Ludlow. So this week, as we come out, we're coming into the springtime here, which is a nice time of year here, and we're kind of, one of the big things we're looking at here in Ludlow right now is continued flood cleanup. I think everybody notices that last year was a difficult year here in Ludlow for everyone. So, the big part was recovering from the flood, getting our infrastructure back in place. Those were the big things, and now we're kind of looking at some of the cleanup that's still left. Those are things that we kind of had to step over last year in the fall, trying to get our town and community back to as normal as we could in anticipation of the winter and the increase in population once the mountain opens. So this time of year, we're kind of looking at, really tying in, the beautification of the town. Green Up Day is coming up on May 4th. That's a huge time in Vermont that community members can get out and work with the towns to really help beautify the areas in their communities. The rain has not let up. Obviously, that's something that we've learned in the last year, and we understand that, our infrastructure acts differently now with the climate change and what's going on. This year we've had 4 or 5 different mud seasons, and that's another thing that we're dealing with is trying to get our roads back. Normally it's not supposed to be 60 degrees and raining in January. We had that a few times, so getting the roads back, the graders are out, they're getting gravel on the roads and SurePack in places that they need, but our road crews are really kicking it into gear to try and get those final touches on the roads and getting the rough spots in some of our dirt roads back to where they should be. So that's kind of where we roll from spring, then we transition into summer, which we have some projects in town that are major projects this summer. You've already started to see probably construction on Mill Street. They're replacing the Mill Street Bridge. That has been a long time coming. That once was originally an actual auto bridge where traffic would pass through that. It has been closed due to the condition of the bridge, but now that's being replaced by the state of Vermont and will be a pedestrian bridge. Our goal is to maybe loop that in with some walking trails that maybe will tie into what will be a low-packed rec area at the former site of the Little League fields. People may not be aware that, I think they're aware that the Little League fields were under a tremendous amount of water during the flood. So we have decided to relocate some of those fields, part of them being up at the high school, making that a field that can accommodate multiple ages, multiple levels. Little League, Babe Ruth, even Legion baseball is coming back to the town of Ludlow this year, which is pretty exciting. But still having those spaces down at the Little League field, maybe looking at making those what we can consider a low impact rec area. Walking trails, potentially pickleball, tennis, etc. Something that, unfortunately, when it does flood again, it's not necessarily going to have a drastic structural or financial impact on the town. So those are some of the things that we're looking at, still recovering from the flooding and the impact it's had on the town. Last night, which was what was the date last night? Last night was the 17th, April 17th. We had our first ARPA meeting, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, which the town and village received a amount of funds. Ballpark town was about $331,000, and the village was in the neighborhood of $280,000 funds, which are provided to the town, which we need to allocate for a variety of different projects in the town. There are certain guidelines that those projects fall under, which can be found on our website. But we will have another meeting on May 1st, 5 o'clock for the village and 6 o'clock for the town, that will provide a little more community input for where those funds could be obligated. We have to obligate them by the end of this year, with construction being 2 years after. It's a tremendous opportunity for us to do something maybe outside of the scope of normal day-to-day spending in the town, and maybe provide some kind of a positive uplift for the town.